Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my NieR Automata very hard difficulty video walkthrough. This is chapter 5, it is the Excavated land, and this is going to be quite the odyssey. We have two bosses, we have a lot of interim activities, and this is the level where I did quite a lot of side quests, but I'm not going to be sharing them, guys, because once again, they're not tricky to do. The combat is pretty standard for a lot of them. You can cheese most of them, and it's just a nice opportunity to get resources, to get money, and to get some experience. But as we exit from the songstress's chamber, one of the forest robots is going to approach us with a white flag, which is goddamn adorable and really funny. I really like this zone. Not only is it a big contrasting colour and its palette and its tone, but it's so goddamn fun. Like, there's a real sense of just I like this area a lot. Obviously, remember to save, guys. It'll save your life. Trust me on this one. Save at every opportunity you can, even if you don't want to, because it's just... the game doesn't auto-save. It's hilarious. It's so stupid that this is a thing that they thought was a virtue and a feature in a game in today. Like, I can't even get my head around it. It could be fixed so easily, right? Every time you're able to save... when it says up in the top hand, saving available, or wherever it says, why not autosave then? So then you don't have to go into a menu, and then you don't have to keep fucking about. And maybe in the settings, put it so that you can choose it to be on or off. If they want to have this super eclectic, old school RPG, goofy, non-modern bullshit happen, make it a setting, don't make it a standard. Because the amount of times you go in menus to save is obnoxious, and when you add them all up over the course of a playthrough, you've probably spent like 30 minutes in a menu for saving purposes, and it's completely worthless because it could have been remedied by letting the game save for you. Every time you hit one of those zones, autosave. Takes a few seconds. Why is that not just objectively a better design? The only thing I can think of where somebody wouldn't want that is when they're doing something really specific with saving and loading. You know, maybe some kind of save scumming or some kind of speedrun strategy where you go all the way to one side of the world and then intentionally kill yourself to spawn somewhere else. Like, that's the only people I can think of who would have an issue with that. To me, it boggles the mind. It's the same with the checkpoint thing. I would rather the game have no checkpoints than give me false hope. That's the thing that bugs me the most, and that's why I'm so heated when it comes to this conversation. Because checkpoints are something I discuss in every game, because they're one of the most important aspects of them for me, and they 100% affect my enjoyment of it. I love to be challenged, guys, and I love to have a hard time in games. Watch any of my playthroughs and you will see there's probably something in that playthrough that I've done arbitrarily to give myself a hard time. I'm looking for challenge, I'm looking for trials and strife, because that's what I play games for now. That's my favourite part of them, is to suffer and then learn to conquer, and it's that conquest that keeps me interested, because let's face it, games can be really fucking boring when there's no challenge to them. You just lose interest, and I don't want to lose interest. I want to play games as much as I can, and I want to keep going back to them because they challenge me in a certain way. But the checkpoint thing is, it's the one thing you can do to completely lose my interest in anything. And you'll always see, even in this walkthrough, you'll see in many other ones as well, but in this particular one, you will be able to tell in my playstyle the difference between a good checkpoint fight and a bad one, because my playstyle will 100% reflect it. And that shouldn't have to exist. It wouldn't exist if the checkpoints were designed equally. As we do a nice little stutter step skip there. Speedrun tech, guys, we got it. But basically what happened just then, guys, quite a jarring transition. I was in the forest village, I showed you how to open the shortcut to get back to the city. I went and did about an hour worth of side questing, picking up items, trying to see if I could get anything too interesting. Didn't really do too much, but I leveled up maybe once, and I got some items for potential upgrades. I might have leveled up more than once, I can't tell, I wasn't checking my level, but I'm level 13 now. You don't have to be level 13, if you're higher, awesome, if you're lower, you'll do just fine. But you need to be aware of the dangers of not keeping ahead on the leveling, because it is a legitimate danger. It can be superseded by skill, but you are not going to have the skill immediately. The skill comes with time. So just take note of that. But we went to the village to get a filter off of Pascal. Now we're coming back to the resistance camp to give the lady the filter. And I believe that this is going to give us some viscous liquid or viscous oil, to which we're going to go and give back to Pascal. But to go back to the checkpoint malady issue that I have so grievously with this game. Platinum have done great checkpoints in the past. They've done poor checkpoints in the past. There is a skill and a discipline to checkpoint selection, I think. And I think it's way more intensive and way more important than it gets any credit for being. You don't generally hear it mentioned, do you? I've read 3 reviews for this game and nobody's mentioned the checkpoints. But do you know why they've not mentioned the checkpoints? Because all the reviewers have played on normal. All of the viewers have played on normal, they've tanked healing items and auto-regen abilities like there's no tomorrow, and they've never needed to see what the checkpoints are like. And it's one of those aspects of game design that I really disagree with, and especially games media coverage. When was the last time you saw any reviewer talk about a harder difficulty that wasn't me or a YouTuber or somebody who actually challenges themselves with games? You don't hear it a lot, and you don't hear it a lot because it doesn't get discussed, because they don't play them on the harder difficulties. And this has nothing to do with them being scrub gamers or bad gamers, even though some of them undoubtedly will be, because it's just a law of averages. The thing with it is, guys, is reviewers have so much to do, and so many games bombarding them, that they don't generally have the time. To me, I don't get it personally, because I can't imagine going to the office and spending 8 hours a day playing games and then coming home and not wanting to play games. Maybe I've not done it, and that's the thing. I don't understand it. I don't have the stigma that you get when you're a game reviewer, where you don't want to play games, you need some time away or something. But the way I feel about video games, I can't imagine not going home, spending time with my girlfriend or whatever situation I'm in, having some rest, you know, doing something with her, eating and what have you, and then the moment I get some spare time, immediately going back to playing games, because that's what I love to do. So to me, I can't even conceive it. Like, one of my favourite parts of talking when it comes to reviews is generally mentioning the hard difficulties and seeing how it affects the game, because it shows that the developer cared. They cared enough to make the game different on the harder difficulty, to give you a reason to play it. Because before there was these fancy trophies and these shiny achievements, we played harder difficulties to challenge ourselves. We score-attacked games to challenge ourselves. We did the no-miss clears to challenge yourself, and we've lost a lot of that. That mentality's kind of gone away. Right now, guys, I'm just showing you the chips I'm buying, showing you the chips I'm equipping, and I've already told you how you can get them back if you fuck up. Just reload, the game doesn't save any of it, and you will never lose your chips, and make it work, because the chips are really powerful, and I use a vast majority of different ones when I play, but for the purpose of this walkthrough, there's going to be a lot of efficiency, there's going to be a lot of drop rate ups and things like that when we get them, and I get really unlucky with the shockwave chip. If you want to get an early shockwave chip, go to the desert. Kill the dudes in the desert, they drop shockwaves, and hopefully you can get one a bit quicker than I do. But I'm still going to be able to show you strategies that don't involve shockwave for the moment, and still get you through with minimum effort, so you should be fine. As I double-checked the map there for the objective. But now there's going to be some more expositional talking, and you have to wait for this to be done, because that's kind of NieR's way of doing things. There's no way to tell them to shut up, there's no way to skip it. Another one of those oversights that I would have really loved to have seen, but alas, it doesn't exist. But on the checkpoint issue that I keep migrating away from, my problem isn't the fact that bad checkpoints exist, my problem is the fact that good checkpoints existed before bad ones. If you know how to design good checkpoints and you've designed them in the past, I don't see an excuse and I don't see a reason why they shouldn't exist now. The only thing I can think of is obviously the creative difference of somebody believing that it's a good checkpoint, but I honestly can't imagine anybody thinking that you should have to run back across the entire world map to get to a boss is a good checkpoint. I don't understand that design. It comes back to the whole Souls notion of design, where the run back in a Souls game has become its own thing. It's become this infamous part, this arduous task that is as Soulsian to those games as any of the other arbitrary mechanics. Like, why isn't it just one button to cast magic? Why do I have to have this thing in my hand, have this thing equipped, have this spell here, have it attuned, have it equipped, then do it, then cast it, then boom? Why is it 9 steps when it could be 1? Well, it's obvious, isn't it? It's 9 steps because the game loves being fucking awkward. It's all about everything having repercussions, everything having consequences. It's the causality of how it works, and that's what's made it popular. The idea of the immediacy that you get in a game like this doesn't exist in Souls. doesn't exist in those kind of games. You swing in this game, it's like a 3-frame swing. Boom, you're done. Boom, you're done. The moment you've pressed it, it's happened. You swing in those games, you can go downstairs, make your fucking dinner, come upstairs, eat it, and then the attack is finished. There's a deliberate difference in design. So when I see those kind of philosophies entering into this game, it makes me scared. Especially if one of them is that the idea of an endearing checkpoint is a massive trek across a fucking vast wasteland to get to a fight that kills you so quickly, that shouldn't exist, because it has to be designed. And I don't know how anybody can think that it's good. So it leads me to believe that the design is both intentional and justified some way. So the question is, do they think the runbacks in this game are some kind of homage or some kind of imitation of a Souls runback, much like the Bloodstain system is a Souls imitated mechanic? Like, is that what they think it is? Because if they do, it leads us to the even better question of, why the fuck would you imitate the worst part of Souls games? Like, I don't get it. It's that weird thing. As we get treated to a rather wonderful camera angle as we go up here. Be very careful climbing this ladder. If any enemies aggro to you, especially the spinning dude of Doom, he killed me up here once. I didn't even have a chance to react. He just shit on my chest at the top. But if you jump off the top of this, you can glide over to this archway here, and there is a chest and there is an item. And in the chest, I believe, is a resource that's quite rare early on. So there you go, more memory alloy. So if you need any kind of high-level upgrade that uses those materials, you now have 2 opportunities to find them quicker than you thought you could. So I hope that helps. And we got to stare at 2B's ass. And let's face it, that is one of the main draws of this game. She has a beautiful, beautiful glute. It is just rather masterful. It's kind of hilarious too, because her ass looks better than most of this game, and there has been more time showed to those perfectly curved globes than there is a lot of this game. Like the hit detection, the hurt boxes, the checkpoints, a lot of that stuff didn't have anywhere near the amount of love those cheeks did, which is kind of amazing and kind of sad at the same time. But it is what it is. They're going to get so many more sales from horny teenagers than they would have if we were running around as a burly dude, so it makes a lot of sense. It would have been nice if you could get a different costume for 2B. I would like to see some different outfits, because I think she's got a fantastic character model. And it'd be nice to wear an outfit that didn't have me ending sessions of playing NieR feeling sexually frustrated, which is what it really does. Because I don't know who thinks it's a good idea to have you staring at a perfect ass for a few hours, but you come out on the other end of it practically like a rapist. It's ridiculous. It's a game that makes me miss my girlfriend in the most carnal and primal way. And it's a bit frustrating, actually. You wouldn't think of it, would you? I didn't think of it. But it's true. Like, I finish sessions of NieR just feeling, you know, the way I always feel. I end sessions of this feeling like a sexual Tyrannosaurus. And there's something wrong with that. Because I come to games to play games. I'm not here to be titillated and seduced. But my God, it's not even subliminal. It's really, really, really noticeable. And it's... I don't know if you'll see that in any reviews, but it's definitely how it makes me feel. I can't imagine being like 13 again. I'd probably pass out. But now we've got a boss. So, the boss coming up is the boss I mentioned in the first video. So I think there's a bit of a divide between design here. I think Platinum and the people who are good at Platinum were the ones in charge of the Goliath fight at the end of Prologue Chapter 1. I think either less experienced Platinum guys or Yoko Taro guys designed the Goliath coming up. And I think I'm going to make a video on this to see what you guys think, because it might not be the most comparable thing to show. But the difference is astronomical. The way the attacks track is night and day different. The boss will never hit you unless you stand completely still. Whereas on the other fight, the boss hit you regardless of where you were because the tracking was spot on. But all it meant was you pressed dodge once and you got the evade perfectly every time with the same timing. This fight, if you watch my blind playthrough, I dodge every attack the first time and then the next 20 times I can't dodge any of them. What changed? The only thing I can think of is both detection and weirdness, just goofiness of active hitboxes. And what I'm going to do to dodge now, instead of doing precise dodges and getting those counters, I'm going to space them, because the attacks just don't work the same. if the timing was the same as that first fight on Prologue, which it should be because it's the same enemy, they would work, right? But it doesn't. And it's noticeable. It's super noticeable. And it leads me to believe that whoever did this did not do as good of a job as the dude who did the other one, or the lady, doesn't matter, I'm not, you know, sexist. Oh, this is a nice shortcut as well if you're good at doing the aerial moves. Which is to say, if you're good at dashing and gliding, which is not a skill, you can do it, guys, I believe in you. Make sure you save here too, because the checkpoint on this one is shit. It's not as shit as some of the other ones, but it's still unnecessary. So that was me saving, that's me respawning after fucking this up. Because that's your checkpoint. There's going to be 2 boss phases, no checkpoint. And you have to get to the top of this every time to start it. Go into your chips right now, guys. Put on either ranged damage extra or melee damage extra. You can put on crits if you want to. You can put on any kind of damage modifier to help you do this. And it'll make it go quicker because this kind of takes a while. It takes way, way longer when I come back and do this as 9S because it's way higher level than me. But the fight is intrinsically the same. There's just a couple of pitfalls you need to be careful of. The first one is depth perception on the blasts. The bullets are so difficult to see where they really are because of the perspective that it's kind of annoying. And you've probably noticed at this point that they've put a nice dogshit grey filter all over the screen and made a game that at times can look really nice, look like dog poo. I don't know why they do this. I appreciate that this Goliath is kicking up dust and it's post-apocalyptic, so it's got to be miserable. But still, no. Anyway, this is the first phase. So he's going to do all the attacks that you're familiar with, but the timing and the hitbox on them is going to be slightly different to what you might be expecting. So you're going to get times where you think your dodge was perfect and you don't get a dodge, and other times where you think your dodge was even more perfect and you get killed. So be careful. Here is the gun. There's like 3 gun patterns, 2 to 3 gun patterns. The one where he does all the blobs, you can cancel all the bullets by shooting at his mouth hole, but the other one can't be cancelled. This one can be cancelled, you see it? Just keep it in the middle and you'll cancel all the shots, but it's kind of hard to do sometimes because of how fiddly the analog can be. But keep on blasting him in the face. Here's the double swipe that doesn't even hit you if you stand still, which is another reason why I don't think this was designed very well, because what's the point in an attack that doesn't even go near you? It's just weird. But here is more of the blobs. Don't do a good job of dodging or stopping the blobs from being happening. And there is the first phase of being happening. Great language. But yeah, first phase done. So you can go into your menu now, use a melee up, use a range up if you want to, and squeeze every bit of damage you can out at the beginning of this fight. But it's not worth it, so you don't have to. This is the tricky part, I think, because the detection is kind of wonky. When this dude swings his arm, you want to be at the bottom of the screen where I am right now, because then you will have to dodge the smallest amount of his hitbox. If you're anywhere to the right of it, you're fucked, because it's active for so long. So you want to stay at the bottom if you can, and dodge to the left. And you'll notice you can spam dodge in this craft. It's actually pretty good. So I recommend doing 2 dodges rather than 1, just to make sure you get those iframes, just to make sure you get through it. The thrust can be dodged by spacing, just move to his right, but the swing coming up here has to be dodged conventionally. And right then, looked easy, didn't it? The amount of times that has hit me is stupid. And I know the timing, I know the fundamental idea of how to dodge it, and it still hits me, which leads me to believe in just questionable detection for whatever reason. And I even talked to Wesley, and he beat this game on hard, first time playing it, first day in 7 hours. And I asked him about that particular attack, and I said that my timing was pretty good, I thought. I've played a lot of these games, I know how to dodge, I get the idea of it, and I still get hit. Have you had any problems with any of this? And he said to me that sometimes it's easier to mash. And he is a veteran action game player. As I mentioned, probably one of the first people to beat this game on hard outside of the dev team. And even he says, fucking mash. Which is a problem, guys, because these games aren't about mashing. And this is the thing that I want to get out there to people who just can't see the forest for the trees. This game has problems that don't exist in other Platinum games. Platinum games have always had issues. You can find them if you look deep enough, and I can appreciate that people can see past the issues to the really fun game that's beyond them. But some of these issues are fundamental problems. This is fucking heart failure in a human body. That's not just an issue you can look past. That's an issue that will cripple the entire core, and it needs to be addressed. And I'm praying, I'm devoutly wishing that it gets addressed and it gets changed, but I just don't think it will, because there's a measure of just looseness in the mechanics where the refinement isn't enough, and I don't know why. And at first I felt like I was going crazy, like it was just me, but the more people are playing this game in my circle who know a lot about these games, they're noticing it too. And when it's just me, I can accept that maybe I dodged bad, maybe I was in a bad mood, maybe I was this, maybe I was that, but I'm not anymore. Playing this game on very hard has made me really, really enjoy the game, and it sounds crazy, doesn't it? I played it on hard and I hated it. I hated every fucking part of it because it was miserable. And then I start playing it on very hard, which is technically meant to be harder, but is intrinsically almost identical, and I had a good time. Because I did all the bullshit. I suffered all the indignation of just stupidity, shit that didn't touch me, shit that did touch me, runbacks that were horrendous, checkpoints that were non-existent. All the crap for like 60 hours was just pissed in my eyes, and now, when I've gone up to very hard where I expect it, it's not happening, because I've learned how to adjust to it and how to adapt to it. You know that fight you just witnessed? I died once, and it was on that one swing attack that I knew would fuck me up, and then I did it fine. The Adam and Eve fight that you're going to see at the end of this video, I got it first attempt. I'm doing things that I didn't think I'd be able to do, because this game just doesn't really allow it, and I'm getting what I could think of is lucky, which I probably am. You know, I'm not getting screwed by the bullshit, basically. And it's just this weird thing of, nobody's talking about this, except for people who understand it. And I don't want to call all the reviewers and all the casual players, you know, I don't want to use this as some kind of negative towards them, because it's not. If you don't see it, I think it's probably wonderful, because ignorance is truly bliss. But if you do see it, you understand how big of a hole it is, and how it doesn't get filled by pleasantries and platitudes. It gets filled when people go in there and address it. And if we don't talk about it, then it doesn't get mentioned and nobody knows that it's an issue. And it's come to my attention that Mr. Yoko Taro is a rather sensitive director who doesn't really like people's opinions of his games and doesn't really like to hear about the critique and the criticism. And I'm sorry, but that's stupid. Without those voices, without that dissent and that discourse, nothing changes. You have to be challenged for the best to surface. That's how this works. That's why the Socratic method is one of the greatest foundations for teaching there is. Because if you have a lot of people bashing heads over a subject, you have all of this intelligence coming together from different angles, thinking of different things, and the best ideas rise to the surface because they're challenged by other ideas. And that's what game design is. Or that's what I believe good game design should be. And this game has got a lot of good design. It's just got these moments where you think, like, were they fucking drunk? Were they high? Did something happen? Did I miss a memo? Did the planet change? Did we shift off the axis? Like, what is going on? And it stings more for me because of how much Platinum means to me. And right now, Platinum are in trouble. Platinum are struggling. They need a big success. And judging by the early reviews of this game and all the crazy people on GameFAQs, they've made the game that they needed to make. This is going to be a massive success. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't have issues, and it doesn't mean that those issues shouldn't be discussed. Because unfortunately there is this anti-criticism movement on the internet where people think anybody that give any kind of critique or any kind of challenge to the normal status quo of a game are negative and whiny and bitching and being trolls. You can't seem to have intelligent discourse anymore without these accusations being fired. And as much as I would like to say it's just stupid people that, you know, should probably be diluted from the gene pool, it isn't. It's just people that, for whatever reason, are now conditioned into this big, smiling, happy, oh, this is great, you know, everything's great. But what if it's not? That's the most important question of all, you know, I think, anyway, that inquisitive mind. But back into NieR anyhow, folks. We're going to do a little bit of side questing here. It's just cleaning up some tertiary stuff. You don't have to pay attention to this particular moment. All that's expected of us now is after the excavator, the ground cracked and it opened up a big crater in the centre of the city. If you go there, there is a vast chasm leading down to like a sluiceway, a watery tunnel system. And then when you go through that, you will find this crazy alien structure. And inside the alien structure is another shitty boss fight with Adam and Eve. Because twins were born in separate uteruses, which makes perfect sense. Or maybe one was born and he copied himself. Maybe he used a digital rib. I haven't been paying that much attention recently. But there's two of them now. They copy-pasted. Control-C, Control-V. Now there's two of the same dudes. One has long hair, one doesn't. And they're both going to talk at you like a pair of twats. And then you get to fight. And it's a mess. It's a complete mess. And this might be the point where the new guy's like, my god, this dude does nothing but complain. Because that's inevitably going to come, because that's what a lot of people hear when I say these things. And that's fine, dude, you know, if you want to think that. But here's a couple of reasons why I think that these points are valid and why they should be expressed. So the Adam and Eve fight is NieR techs on one of them, you tech on the other one. It is a side-on fight, a two-dimensional fighting game plane. So you only have up and left and right to move. You can't move in the 3 dimensions to avoid anything. So it changes drastically how you're going to approach it. And then, the people fighting with you, behind you, can affect your battle. Which is wonderful. So at the beginning, you have to listen to a conversation that lasts about 30 seconds that you cannot skip every time you want to retry. And then when you're fighting against a guy who's going to kill you in one hit with a whole host of moves you've already seen, but at any point, the guy off-screen can attack you instead of NieR, or he can attack NieR and hit you instead. So just imagine this, right, guys? Have you played Bayonetta or Bayonetta 2? Have you played anything like that? I hope you have. They're great games. They're better than this game. In Bayonetta 2, there are these fights against the Lumen Sage, where in the foreground is your character that you control, and then the enemy you're fighting, which in this case is Boulder. And then in the background, there are giant monsters fighting each other as a visual representation of what's happening in the foreground. The background has no impact whatsoever on what happens in the foreground, other than being really colourful and distracting for people who can't concentrate very well, like me. But that's the end of it. That's the only impact it has. It's just fan service, fancy trimmings, smoke and mirrors. It's two dudes fighting, tiny in the front, big dudes in the back. That's all it is. Now imagine if that fucking stupid cardinal virtue thing from Bayonetta 1 could attack you! Would that be fun? Maybe. But that's because Bayonetta works so really well. But even so, it'd be kind of annoying and bullshit at times, because what if it could attack you from off-screen? Without any real provocation or any real signifier that it's happening. And then that's what you have in this fight. So you have two bosses, one of them that's going to try and kill you, another one that's going to try and kill you inadvertently, and then you can't win it, I don't think. And I've tried. I've tried to do as much damage as I can, but the boss just goes into this phase where all he does is block. So it's an unwinnable fight. The whole purpose of the fight is to survive a set period of time with a boss that's throwing out all kinds of full-screen moves and crazy electric shit, and then another dude doing the same. And then the checkpoint is shitty too. So everything about this fight is crap, basically, because it's not fun, it's not interesting, it's recycled, and you can't win it. So just going into this fight is kind of bullshit. But I've got a really good strategy when I play as 2B as how to deal with it. So you'll notice I have a single sword on my back. I've been using this sword the full game. This is not a challenge run, I'm not doing it intentionally, I just forgot to get other weapons. You know, it was one of those things I was going to do, and then I got playing, and I just kept moving, and I kept moving, and I was recording, and we did well. When you use that sword in the opposite hand, so as your heavy attack, when you jump in the air and you press triangle, she throws the sword downwards, it spins, it does a hard knockdown, and then she follows up with a helm breaker, which is a strike that comes all the way down and grounds your character. You can cancel the helm breaker before it happens to stay in the air if you want to. You don't have to, but it can be useful. And when you hit this boss in certain vulnerable states, it'll flatten him and he has to get up. And if you don't attack him when he's on the ground, he gets up in generally I think the slowest animation. I don't know if you can animation cancel, but he can if you attack him in certain phases. So just be careful with that. I'm getting kind of lost because my map is not there. For some reason at this point in the game the map denies you to make it a bit difficult to find where you're going. And that was very lucky just then. I did not mean to dodge that, but that was the end of the game. An attack from off screen. Zero telegraphing, like, did you hear a noise? I didn't. Maybe there was one, maybe there wasn't. It doesn't matter. NieR doesn't give a fuck, you died anyway. And that move does a hard knockdown on this boss. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to knock him down, I'm going to wait for him to stand up, and I'm going to knock him down again. And if he does anything, you have to be on your toes to get ready to dodge it, because he has a whole host of different attacks that will do bad things to you. I've gone the wrong way, by the way, guys. This is a dead end with a chest. I need to go the opposite way in the cave system. And we've just got 2B wet, so we get to stare now at her in all her moist glory. And then I'm going to show you my chips that I'm going to pop on. So, interesting, I took my chips off. There you go, did you see it? That's the move we're going to be doing. That's the move that's going to win this for us. You don't have to fight like this, but I recommend that you do this because it's easier than going all out. If you want to just fight him normally and do a super cool fight, feel free. It does work, but I don't think it speeds anything up, so it's not needed really. Couple of no-nos in this encounter. I do not recommend using the gun. The gun just provokes counterattacks, it provokes reflections, mirror force, kind of bullshit, and it'll get you into some rough situations. So this is what you have to watch every time, right? They're going to talk at each other now. I move all the way to the right-hand side to get away from the guy in the background trying to kill me, the bitch. And you need to wait for... He goes, maybe we'll wipe out the androids too. And then the fight begins, then you can attack him. This is it. Fight begins now. So, I'm waiting. That's his teleport. When he teleports, move away from him. See what he does. What's he going to do? This is his 4 projectiles. Spam dodge, get through them. And then jump, and then chuck. That time he blocked it. Not as good. This time, he's invincible because he gets bullshit properties. That's his weird grab. That's his auto-evade. And then that's his block again because he's bullshit. That's the invincibility because... Oh, that's the guy shooting at me. Awesome. That's his other thing. That's his kick. He gets armor in these moves, that's why he's not been knocked down, and he's dodging a lot of them. But you'll see that the idea, that's it. That's the hard knockdown. Just jump above him and then chuck it. Be careful of this. These are pillars of light. They will do incredible damage. That's his weird grabby move. Do not get touched by any of these things. And all we're going to do, guys, is jump above him and chuck the blade. Jump above him, chuck the blade. If he dodges, awesome. If it hits, awesome. Doesn't really matter. As long as he's not doing anything too dangerous and we're on top of this, we're fine. This is the big danger here, because if it goes in front of you, you can run into it. Be careful of that. There's his block. Wait for his invincibility to run out and then hit him. There you go. Flattened him. And you can get him sometimes when he's playing the game. You can put him in a bit of a loop where he just keeps getting flattened. But at the moment, he's being really aggressive. But if you can get this to happen, it's really effective. And all we're doing is wasting time. The whole point of this encounter is to waste time. There's his invincibility again. There's him being flattened. There's him being flattened. See what I mean? If he lets us do this, it works. But it's up to him. It's not up to you guys. It's not about timing. It's about the game. It's the same with A2. I have this wonderful launch loop on A2, but you can't do it every time, because if she decides to get out, she gets out. So it's not a loop. But I've had instances where I did it 6 times in a row, and she died. You know, it's that weird thing. And I don't know how to control it because I'm still so very new to the game, but hopefully smarter people than myself will figure that out. But that is the end of the Adam and Eve fight. As soon as the level up happens, you've done it. And you can go and save, and you never have to see that shit again until you come back on the B ending, and you have to see that shit again. Which is actually tougher too, because 9S doesn't have that move I was doing, so he doesn't have a way to flatten the boss without putting yourself at risk, so it turns into a much trickier encounter. But it's still not too bad, because fundamentally the fight itself is very simple. The problem with it is it's so easy to get hit. It's so easy to get hit, and on a game where you're punished so much for taking hits, it can lead to frustration. How would I fix it? I would fix it by making the checkpoint happen the moment the warning sign happens on the fight, and then I would leave it the same, because the fight isn't bad. Making the player suffer through 30 seconds of unskippable dialogue when all they want to do is start the fight again, that's bad. That just makes people resent your dialogue, it makes people resent your story, and you hear all this stuff on the internet about how the storytelling in this game is wonderful. Storytelling in this game is not wonderful at all. It's fucking average. There's an interesting story there, but it's told in a convoluted, messy sense that you only really get any pure context to until you see all the endings. So it's just kind of a Deus Ex Machina, do all the things in the game to get the clearest picture, when the answer itself is rather obvious and you probably guessed it to begin with. So all these people saying that this is like some kind of fucking amazing storytelling, you've never read a book.